Welcome to February in wine country, and listen, it's a special month because it's Black History Month. So to honor Black history and to celebrate wine, we're hanging out with the only Black winemaker in the country, Steve Byfield, who heads up a virtual winery. It's called Nyarai Cellars, and we'll get into the virtual stuff in a second because that in itself is fascinating. But let's start with your background, Steve. Very nice to meet you.
Likewise.
How long you been in the wine industry for?
Going in roughly 21 years now, as of this coming harvest, fall. And the path itself was definitely something different than I originally wanted to do. I was hoping to become a music educator, but got bitten by the wine bug along the way and decided to make that pivot and pursue an equally challenging and rewarding passion.
What is it about the wine business, though, that attracted you to it?
Essentially, it was really the creativity, the creativeness of taking a product, i.e. grapes, transforming that into wine and seeing the whole process from start to finish. So, the growing, the grape production of growing of the grapes, the processing into must, fermenting it, and then, of course, I really just gravitate to the creative aspect of blending, the nurturing, the maturation, and then of course packaging and put the wine in a bottle and have an actual product that you can see at the end and say, hey, I made this wine from start to finish, and it's quite a gratifying experience.
And the frustration with Mother Nature, because there's some things that you just can't control.
Well, Mother Nature rules the day. So basically you take what you're given with and you make the best of it, which I think a lot of winemakers in the Niagara region would say, for the most part, you just do what you can and you make the best from each year.
What about working in a field that, listen, it is dominated by whites, right? You are the only Black winemaker in the country. Do you know many others?
There are other people of color, of course, who work in the industry, either as winemakers themselves or cellar hands or production staff, but in terms of having their own brand, their own label, as far as I know, I'm the only one that has labels such working and operating in Canada.
That has to feel gratifying.
It's gratifying. It is gratifying, definitely, but it's also very humbling. I was given an opportunity to pursue a passion, a dream, and never really taken that for granted, and always try to push myself further with each vintage that I do to make the wines better than they were the previous year.
Okay. We're going to take a break. We're going to spend the morning with Steve, and we got to shout out because this isn't your winery. We're at Ridgepoint Wines in Vineland because you have a virtual winery. You can only access these wines virtually. So we'll take you through that whole process because it's fascinating, like Steve's story is. And then maybe we'll even go out on this cold February day and check out how the vines are doing in this good old Canadian winter. We come back with Nyarai Cellars on Morning Live. Well, good morning. Back here in Vineland this morning to celebrate Black History Month with the only Black winemaker in the country. Great to be with Steve Byfield. He has his own virtual winery called Nyarai Cellars. Hence, he needs to lean on some friends like Ridgepoint Wines to host us this morning. What did you pour there for, Steve?
I poured our 2014 Cadence, which is a red blend primarily based on Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Malbec.
Okay. What is a virtual winery?
Essentially, virtual winery is what the French would call a garagiste operation, so a garage operation. And the basic concept behind that is a winemaker may know somebody who has grapes that they want to produce, but they don't have their own facility to produce it, so they usually would invite them, come to my cellar, I'll have some space, throw your barrel, make your wine. In the New World sense, so in North America, Australia, New Zealand, it's more or less a operation where, again, we don't have our own vineyards, our own buildings, so we rent space, or in my case, I rent floor space with a system winery. I buy grapes from grape growers, and then we make the wine as such under their license. So
you're a busy guy because you have your own virtual winery, but you're actually a winemaker for other wineries. And that's where your home base is, up in Grey Bruce?
Where we have Nyarai Cellars, yes, it's Grey Bruce County at Coffin Ridge Winery and Vineyards. But I also do consulting work, or I would say consulting work, or just work for other wineries in the Niagara region, as well as and other emerging wine regions. So Huron County, Grand Bend, Godrich has I believe.
Do they grow grapes up there?
They have, yes, there's about 5 wineries there, and I work for 2 of them, Cornerfield Wines and Second Street Light. So
Outstanding. Now, with COVID and a lot of things going online, has that benefited your business? Because everybody has kind of pushed everything to online.
We as a business, not just a business, as a community, had to pivot. The wine community had to pivot and rely on online sales and curbside pickup, of course. So, and for Nyarai itself, it was pretty advantageous in the sense that we had, my partner Sharon Lewis and myself had established Nyarai as being a virtual label. So meaning when you go to our website, that essentially acts as our retail store or winery. So you can make orders online, give us a call, we'll ship anywhere in Ontario. But yeah, it really paid off in the sense of just having that platform already established, and we were able to just continue to build the brand and get the word out.
So that's how you go. You go to NyaraiCellars.ca if you're interested in some of the wines that Steve made for us. Actually, I think they're out of the white though, right?
That's correct. We were just.
Luke, is this you? Huh? You already cracked it? Look at you, huh? Yeah, of course it's you. But let's take a break because we want to show off these wines a little bit. Maybe we could do a little taste test for some of us. Some of us already have. And then let's go inside too. Because I want to know these cold Canadian winters, we're kind of locked into it right now, what that does for the vines. And then we'll come back with Steve Byfield from Nyarai Cellars on Morning Live. Well, good morning and welcome back to Vineland. We thought even though it's minus 100 out, the sun's shining, so why not spend some time in the vineyard? Because that's where everything gets made, like that delicious sparkling by Steve Byfield and his virtual winery.
Thank you.
They are Nyarai Cellars, let me get that right.
That's correct.
This time of the year, what's going on with the vines?
The wines are basically in their dormancy stages, trying to get through the winter. The wood's been hardened in the sense that crop was taken off at a decent time frame before the first major cold dip and frost or cold event. And basically we're just hoping that in the next few weeks we won't see any major temperature spikes or dips in terms of getting cold. And really it's the one part of the issue that we just can't really control. We just have to hope for the best and do what we can just to make sure we have viable buds coming through in the spring.
Because the winter hasn't been bad thus far. We're into this little cold snap now.
Correct.
But if a real cold snap continues, could these vines be damaged going into the?
You'd lose, yes, you'd lose some of your buds, which would be exposed to the and damaged because of the cold temperatures. So normally you want to have at least 50% of viable bud to come through the winter, so have a chance to at least realize a crop at the following season.
As a virtual winery, so you just purchase all your grapes.
We purchase grapes.
So
yes.
you don't actually have your own vineyard.
No.
You still keep an eye on the weather because
very much.
Going to be
very much.
It
affects what we can bring in, and affects not just us, it's everybody else. I mean, Mingle behind us, Vineland, in front of us, and so forth. It's the cost of doing business with Mother Nature. But again, with the quality of the crop and the vintage we had in 2020, it was quite rewarding, and it was probably one of the better crops to come off in recent years. So we're happy.
There's a couple of events that, because it is Black History Month, and
That's
you
correct.
being a rarity in the wine business, what are 2 events that you have coming up that you wanted to shout out?
Well, first of all, we're a part of an international wine summit virtually on February 19th. Myself, along with 12 other winemakers from across the U.S. and South Africa and France. And the second event we're quite happy with and really pushing hard is our event on the 27th with Chef Suzanne Barr, and Beverly Grandin, called Voices in Ontario Wine and Food. And those information can be found either on Instagram or online with us.
Okay, well, I got the info on the bottom of the screen, but we just have this lonely bottle just sitting out here, just waiting to be opened, I think, Steve. So maybe let's go back inside. We'll warm up and then open something cold.
That'd be great.
And test something out. It's the Nyarai Cellars. Again, you can get it at NyaraiCellars.ca. Well, good morning. What a great morning. It's getting better here with Nyarai Cellars and their winemaker, Steve Byfield, who is a rarity in the industry, being the one person of color, but we're celebrating Black History Month, and we're celebrating with some bubbly, some sparkling wine. What do you got for us here, Steve?
This is our 2019 Folklore, and this is our first sparkling wine that we ever made within our portfolio. It's a blend of 5 grapes. One of them being, or the main base, is a Lac-Qui Blanc, which is actually a grape that was developed here in Byfield, Ontario, Canada, of all places.
Yeah.
Go figure. Back in the mid-1950s, along with Chardonnay, Moscato Autumnal, Sauvignon Blanc, and Gewürztraminer.
Okay, so five grapes in one. Is that pretty rare for a sparkling?
I'm not sure, but it's something I like to do blends. I love the whole art of assemblage blending, and I thought it would be pretty cool just to continue on that with a sparkling project. So.
Because Nyarai Cellars has been around for how long?
Will be 13 years this fall.
13 years, and this is the first time you've gone
First
sparkling.
time, that's correct.
Is sparkling hard to make? Is that why it's a tough one to do, or why did it take so long?
Well, there's different methods of making sparkling. You can either do it traditional or they call it ancestral, which is the wine is conditioned, fermented in bottle, but takes longer. Or you can do it the Charmat style, which we do the second primary fermentation in tank under pressure. So this is done more in the Charmat style.
And no cork.
We decided to go with the capsule. Yes.
How come?
For one, it was cheaper.
Yeah, right?
We just wanted something a little different. And there were other wineries that had done their sparkling under cap, and we thought it was kind of an ingenious way of doing it.
A lot of the time we think cork, we think higher quality, but that's not always the case.
It's all personal preference, to tell you the
Yeah?
truth. I mean, there's still people who believe and want and will die by using the cork. Others will use Stelvin capsules or the capsules. Again, it's all preference.
Can we try it?
Yes, by all means.
Okay.
Please do.
Thank goodness. All right, here we go. Ooh, sparkling in the morning. That's fantastic, Steve.
Thank you.
It's very nice. Okay, so that's one that's available. Again, if you've been missing out this morning, Steve is unique, not only being a person of color, but also it's a virtual winery. You can only access your wines online. So NyaraiCellars.ca. I got the name all morning long, and then I messed it up.
That's
right
fine. That's fine.
Okay, so the white is actually sold out.
That's sold out.
So this is the only. We got 3/4 of a bottle here.
That's
so
correct.
that goes to the highest bidder.
That's highest bidder, and you two can find it out.
And then you got the sparkling, and then the red over in the far end.
Our 2014 Cadence, yes.
Excellent. And anybody in and around the region, you can get it online, and then.
Anyway, yep, in the region, or if you're at that Coffin Ridge Winery and Vineyard, you can buy it up as there. But mainly, it's our website is set as such. We'll sell to anybody.
Coffin Ridge is up in Grey Bruce.
Grey Bruce County. That's
right. And we have to give a shout out to Ridgepoint, because
Ridgepoint
I know
wines.
you used to work here a number of years ago.
Yes, and I also, as part of the project, which we'll talk about, I also sourced some of the fruit for our wines. So they're Merlot and their Cab Sauv.
Hey, nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing the tastiness. Actually, let me try that.
All right.
Give me a little pour of that.
All right,
as we go to break.
Will do.